this group is that we support strategic mitigation. I won't submit to you that my colleagues in reinsurance are inherently more wise or inherently more smart, certainly not, than anyone else. But we have a portfolio view. We sit atop a global portfolio of risk and achieve a lot of data sets. The Chilean earthquake, and we don't see, happily, we don't see a lot of earthquakes. We don't have a lot of observable data. That's the good side and the bad side. Our scientists want the data. So almost literally as we speak, a team of my scientific colleagues are poring over what we've learned from Chile. We've learned a lot about actually specific construction applications and some interesting things around geological siting, and we'll apply that to how we think about risk in California. So we have this ability to gather up data from a global base and apply to portfolio level, and over time we continue to tune up our pricing, tune up our risk signals. And one thing that's told us is that mitigation is key. Better built homes do better. Being based in Bermuda, until recently I lived in a 17th century home with 17th century loss mitigation. That home has done great. So intuitively we've all felt that better built homes will withstand storms better, but with specific construction applications that make sense for the perils that you experience at that site. You know, as time goes by and we get more data, we're proving it more and more deeply. And strategic mitigation, better land use, better enforced construction, a way to think about that is perpetual reinsurance. It's the gift that keeps on giving over periods of time. And as we've noted, we believe that the building codes are important and they're good, and more or less across the U.S., thanks in no small part to the great work of folks at the ICC and the Building Code Coalition. On paper, our building codes are pretty good by and large right now. The real key going forward is enforcement and avoiding exemptions, short-sighted exemptions in my personal opinion. But again, as the principal bearers of the economic loss, and we'd like to do more, we have the greatest incentive to support efforts, both to quantify impacts and support their implementation. And we're also increasingly interested, and speaking to some degrees on a personal level, but also about our industry as a whole, in understanding legislation and how it impacts mitigation. Here are a couple of the legislative initiatives that we've been tracking and cheering on. The Homestar program, as folks know, was principally designed to provide critically important climate change-related energy efficient tools for investment. We wanted to see, and we're still pushing for this, the same tools provided to make homes safer. By the way, we think it's a twofer. The same techniques that you apply to a home to make it more resilient, more resistant to storms, also make it more resistant to energy loss. But the fact that our movement, the disaster safety movement, couldn't get on that bill out of the gate really told me something, and we want to focus on that. But we also want to ask for your help. We are old hands at risk. My day job, our day job really is thinking about risk. Trying to track legislation is brand new to us. And the folks in this room, you are the experts. What do you think are the best approaches? What's the best way to move things forward in Washington? Things like jurisdiction confuse us. But we'd like your help. What's got the most promise? What's the best way forward? We'd like to be in a partnership with you. We know that you are the experts, and we'd love to hear your input and work with you on a partnership basis. But in the meantime, my company, I'm proud to say, is putting our resources where our beliefs are, committing very substantial resources to risk mitigation. I'll go through a couple of these things. The odd-looking structure on the right of your screen is the Renaissance Wall of Wind. And as we're not much of a branding company, the Wall of Wind is exactly what we brightly came up and called it. It's a wall of wind. It produces full-scale Cat 3 or better. There's some internal debate over how to market this. Hurricane-strength wind fields. And we wanted that. We wanted to test real construction and real hurricane conditions. This installation is in North Miami at the Florida National University Research Center. If anyone hasn't seen it, would like to see it, please let me know. We love turning it on and having things blow around. Actually, our engineers like testing. We test our own R&D. We're very keenly interested in mitigation applications which will reduce loss. So what our engineers like to see is the boring test where nothing blows off. I confess I'd like to see things blow around. So we'll do both, live disaster testing. The Stormstruck logo, we're also quite proud of that as well. That is an attraction at Walt Disney World. So duty has compelled me to visit Disney frequently over the last few years. But we wanted to, we know that we don't know consumers from the holes in our head, but we thought that Disney probably does. They seem to have this knack of reaching out to people. And in partnering with Disney and partnering with the terrific Federal Alliance for Safe Homes organization, about 2 years ago now, we launched this very well-attended attraction at Walt Disney World, which simulates in what's perceived to be the safety of your living room in Walt Disney 4 dimensions, a hurricane. And my 5-year-old daughter's experienced it. It's not that terrifying. It's a little bit thrilling. You have a storm in 4 dimensions, and then not surprisingly to this group, when the storm washes through, we put 8 mitigation retrofits in front of you, and you and your coworkers get to pick cost-effective ways to make your home safer, make your family safer. The hurricane comes back in, and you see how you did. And I was skeptical. I'm obviously in that geeky-sounding legal department. I had faith in Disney, and I had faith, more importantly, in Flash, and I had faith in our scientists to make it scientifically accurate. It came out better than I had hoped. And it is marvelous. If you haven't seen it and you'd like a private tour or otherwise a viewing, please let me know. And if you have other ways that we can reach out and get our disaster safety message out to the public, we are never going to be good at this. Again, we need your help. How can we make loss mitigation cool and get consumers to change their behavior? Disney will help, but we'd like your help as well. And down at the bottom, there are our Leadership Forum series. Again, we've tried to just reach out to people and put people together at no cost and talk about disaster safety issues. A series of our past events, including this one, which was focused on affordable housing solutions. And too frequently, I think we focused on how to provide even cheaper insurance to our nation's most affluent and haven't focused enough on how to make America's least blessed safe. And that was the focus of the Safe Homes for All Leadership Forum. Our next one is in Texas at the end of June, June 28th. If you haven't been invited and you'd like to be invited, again, it's invite only, but it's no charge. Please grab me. I'll be around all day and help spread the word. Since I've traveled out from Bermuda to see you, an advertisement about us, but if you'd like to know more about Renaissance, renreid.com. So in conclusion, we have real challenges. Hurricanes happen. Hurricanes are powerful. Thunderstorms, windstorms happen. Floods will happen. They'll happen more frequently, we believe, due to climate change. But our principal challenges are really man-made. Decades of probably well-intentioned but inadvertently unfortunate policy decisions, but that means that they can be fixed. And we believe that private market reinsurance is part of any solution. And in particular, what I'd share with you is that we would think that over time, market-based signals being more incorporated into flood insurance are essential to floodplain management over time. And of course, strategic mitigation essential. So in conclusion, I would like to pause for a moment and ask you to join me in celebrating the life of this great man, Bill Riker. I'd really hope to be here Tuesday and Wednesday. My colleague, my client, my boss, my friend passed away this weekend after a long and valiant battle with cancer. But Bill had told us all, when it happens, and it will happen, I don't want you to be sad. I want you to go to New Jersey and have a big shindig, and a shindig we had. And we had lots of times to share stories and remember Bill, who was a great man, most importantly, a great father, a great husband, but a great leader in our business, and a fan of the floodplain managers. He was fond of you, Larry. He really loved Pan. He loved your organization. He thought you did great things, and Bill really brought us together. Although Bill was perhaps one of the most significant leaders in reinsurance. And Renaissance Re is known for having brought stochastic modeling, super ensemble, predictive climatology to the reinsurance business. Bill was at the heart of all those efforts. And while he was, in the eternal Hall of Fame for reinsurance, at his heart he was an engineer, and he was a man who loved water. He loved hydrology. He loved sailing, and he loved his friends and he loved his coworkers. Those things that I mentioned before, some of those things I think are really cool about us, Bill was at the heart of all of them. Whether a storm struck or the wall of wind, the hardened anemometers we've installed around the Gulf and the Atlantic, Bill brought that home. Bill would jaunt off to America and come back to Bermuda and tell our executive committee, I've found another bunch of scientists we're going to throw a bunch of money at, and it was always worth doing. So Bill was a great man. My life is better for having worked and played with him, and I think America is as well. And have him in your hearts this week. He brought a lot to the table and to your movement. Thank you for your time.